Alright, let's just get this out of the way. Bandit Heeler? B tier. Look, the guy's great, but his need to turn everything into a game would be exhausting. It feels like his kids can ignore direct instructions because they know a game is coming anyway. He sets this unrealistic standard for fun that no real parent can match. And frankly, are we even watching the same show as the people who call him perfect? Okay. Before you write in the comments, that was a test. A little chaos to kick things off. But it gets to the heart of what we're asking today. What actually makes a good dad? Is it being a fun-loving playmate? A responsible provider? Or is the bar just not being a total menace to your own kids? Today, we're settling it. We've gathered the most iconic, beloved, and hilariously awful dads from adult animation for the ultimate tier list showdown. We're going from God tier to garbage, and nobody is safe. Let's start where we have to, at the very bottom. F tier, the garbage tier. First up in our Hall of Shame is Cotton Hill from King of the Hill. Cotton is a masterclass in psychological torment. He's cruel, misogynistic, and relentlessly bullies his son Hank well into his adult life. He might have moments played for laughs, but his legacy is just pure trauma. He's a walking cautionary tale. And now for the main event of the F tier. Peter Griffin from Family Guy. Where do you even start? Peter isn't neglectful, he's actively terrible. He's openly admitted he doesn't care about his kids, and his treatment of Meg is legendary for its cruelty. He's used her as a human shield and fired a gun at her. Sure, it's played for slapstick, but the sheer volume of his abusive and dangerous behavior is staggering. He is what happens when the lovable buffoon archetype has zero love and a whole lot of sociopathy. There are entire compilations of his terrible deeds, from trying to marry his son to just forgetting he has a baby. Peter Griffin isn't just in the garbage tier, he's king of the landfill. C tier, the bad dads. Alright, moving up a tiny bit to C tier. These are dads who aren't pure evil, but are still objectively bad at their one job. Our first entry is the patriarch of pathetic, Jerry Smith from Rick and Morty. Jerry tries, I guess. The problem is, his insecurity makes him a completely useless parent, especially in a universe this chaotic. He's less of a role model and more of a human speed bump who gets consistently steamrolled by his genius, nihilistic father-in-law. He isn't malicious, but his weakness often makes things worse for his kids. Next to him, let's place Mertens, Finn's dad from Adventure Time. This one hurts, because Finn is such a good kid who deserved so much better. Martin is the definition of a deadbeat. He's a selfish con man who abandoned his hero son and only ever looks out for himself. His appearances are almost always a masterclass in disappointment and betrayal. His stunning selfishness makes him a truly bad father. B tier, the It's Complicated crew. Welcome to the B tier, the most debatable tier on this list. These are dads who have moments of greatness, but are so deeply flawed you can't call them good. First up, Randy Marsh from South Park. Randy is, without a doubt, one of the funniest characters on television. But as a father, yikes. He is profoundly selfish, impulsive, and constantly chasing his next ridiculous scheme, often dragging his family into the mess. Whether he's starting a global health crisis with a bat or getting way too into World of Warcraft, Randy's self-indulgence almost always comes first. Sure, he loves his kids, and he's had moments of real connection, but those are needles in a haystack of terrible decisions. Joining him is Stan Smith from American Dad. Stan is a fascinating case. On one hand, he's an overbearing, paranoid CIA agent who raises his family with the same approach. He has tranquilized and brainwashed his daughter and constantly bullies his son Steve to toughen him up. On the other hand, he has shown he's willing to die for his family and has had genuinely heartwarming moments. He once sold his prized DeLorean just to have an excuse to spend time with Steve. He's better than Peter Griffin, but that's a low bar. B tier feels right. Okay, this is where I need you. Stan and Randy are two of the most popular characters in animation, but they are walking disaster zones as parents. Did I get this right, or is Stan secretly an A-tier dad? Let me know where you'd put them in the comments. This is where the war begins. A-tier, the great but flawed. Now we're getting to the good ones. A tier is for dads who are genuinely good, but carry enough iconic baggage that they can't reach perfection. And who else could lead this category but Homer Simpson? Homer is arguably the most iconic cartoon dad ever. He's lazy, dim-witted, and yes, he has a history of strangling his son that even the show now acknowledges is pretty bad. But for every moment, there's a moment of profound, unexpected heart. This is the man who took a soul-crushing second job just to buy Lisa a pony. He gave up his dream job at the bowling alley when Marge got pregnant with Maggie and famously covered a plaque from Mr. Burns with her photos so it would read, "Do it for her." He's deeply flawed, but when it truly matters, he consistently chooses his family. His love is real and has given us some of the most touching moments in TV history. Right next to Homer, we have to put Hank Hill from King of the Hill. Hank is the polar opposite of Homer's chaos. He's responsible, principled, and the stable center of his family. His main flaw is his own rigidness and his struggle to understand his son Bobby. "That boy ain't right" is his famous catchphrase. But even though he's baffled by Bobby's love for prop comedy, Hank's love is unwavering. He always means well and provides a foundation of stability. Plus, he managed to become a decent, loving father despite being raised by the garbage tier monster that is Cotton Hill. That earns him major points. He's truly a good man and a great dad. S tier, the God tier dads. And now, the pinnacle, the S tier, the gods of cartoon fatherhood. These dads aren't just good parents, they are aspirational figures. Kicking off the S tier is Bob Belcher from Bob's Burgers. In a world of dysfunctional animated families, the Belchers stand out because they actually love each other, and Bob is the anchor. Bob is constantly stressed, overworked, and barely keeping his restaurant afloat, but he never lets that get in the way of being a good father. He supports his children's weirdest obsessions, from Tina's erotic friend fiction to Gene's keyboard full of fart noises. He took a second job as a cab driver so Tina could have the birthday party she wanted. Bob's defining trait is his unwavering, unconditional love. He doesn't just tolerate his kids' eccentricities, he encourages them. He is, simply put, the gold standard. And you know what? Let's fix my earlier mistake. The true second member of the God tier is Bandit Heeler. Yes, the cold open was a joke. Bandit is an incredible father. Anyone who says he's a bully is missing the point of a show that's about the power of imaginative play. He is emotionally intelligent, endlessly playful, and deeply involved in his daughter's lives in a way that has reshaped what many people see as possible in fatherhood. He sets a high bar, but it's a bar of engagement and love, not perfection. He's not just a good dad. He's a fantasy of what a great dad could be, and for that, he absolutely belongs in the S tier. So there you have it, the final, definitive cartoon dad tier list. We've seen the absolute worst with Peter Griffin, the complicated messes like Randy and Stan, the legendary but flawed Homer in A tier, and the paragons of fatherhood, Bob Belcher and Bandit Heeler, sitting right where they belong in S tier. They make us laugh, cringe, and sometimes they even make us tear up. They reflect our own world back at us. Who did I miss? Who's the one dad you think I got completely wrong? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. The Cartoon Moms tier is coming up, and you know that's going to be even more of a war zone.